The irony of it all, huh? Someone's laughing. There's blue sky right there, though. More tall order for to wet down the set, make Eden more lush. It's all part of the master plan.
Hey man, you're steady.
Let's have a great shoot, no one get hurt, and I'll see you in 71, 72, maybe 73 days. All right, thank you. Woo.
I thought Iceland was such an incredible natural landscape. In fact, that land is our newest land, so that if you're making a film about something that happened on Earth a very, very long time ago, it kind of makes sense not to go with desert, which is actually really ancient land, but to go with something that's as new as possible, which is volcanic.
Places like that rarely get filmed often because of the difficulty in the access points. That's part of the reward in pulling off a great shoot day like that. As hard as it was, I think it's rewarding and everyone feels great about it.
I've never been to a place where I could step outside of myself as a cinematographer working on a specific thing and actually appreciate the beauty of where I was. Just like take a moment to look and say, I cannot believe we're shooting this place. And it's probably the only place that I've ever done that.
If the Earth was at one point basically, molten, cooled off and things grew on it, Iceland has just cooled off. And in fact, some of it's not that cool. The ground is still warm in certain places. It's a volcanic place. And while it looks like it's the end of everything, it's also the beginning. It's actually what Earth probably looked a lot more like once. And this whole movie is about whether it's the end or the beginning.
There was a goal in Iceland for the beginning of the film to not be too beautiful. But the point of what we're trying to convey is that, we're dropped into this world that's been exhausted.
Enjoy seeing people suffer.
It's a bit different from the asphalt in New York, isn't it?
Almost everything in here is nautical. The round part of it's ship's ballast. It's filled with cement. I think they estimated it's been like 14 tons. And then there's two pieces of, it looks like some sort of a bilge pump fitting for some very, very big vessel. Yeah, everybody's got a piece they like, and everybody can take one home.
I don't know if there's too many elves here or beings here because this is a former mine and but they might have come back since the mine stopped. So we're not worried about the elves, we're just trying to collaborate with the elves. We just have to respect them. So every day we're going to play them a song. We're going to bring them some flowers, light some candles, light some incense. We're burning some incense right now. Let them think it's a party or join in on our party.
The other thing that Iceland offers is a black. Black sand, black beaches, black mountains, black. Darren likes black. He liked it for this story. Black Ark, Black Swan.
You know, shooting in Iceland was something everybody was really looking forward to. It definitely posed a lot of challenges in the landscapes and in the terrain. The access to it was brutal. I mean, you had to, only certain types of vehicles could get in and out of there and could only get so close. I mean, it was hard for even just the talent to walk down into the canyon without carrying any equipment, let alone the crew with all the gear and the equipment and cameras and lights and stands.
You couldn't fight the weather. You had to realize that you are the weather. I am the weather, and you just sort of accept the weather for what it is, and you try to figure out how to work with it. You know, normally here in New York, in most places, you see like one layer of clouds, and it's all going in one direction, and you go, oh, okay, well, we'll have sun in a few minutes. But actually, what's going on in Iceland is, you know, there's 4 layers of clouds, and they're each going in different directions. So it's sort of like, you know, trying to shoot between these holes in the clouds to try and make anything match.
Is this thing moving?
Yeah, it is.
There it is.
We're gonna go. Let's get ready.
No, look where it is.
It might open up right here.
Where?
It's moving right, but it's like it's skirting the edge right now. It might break. It was frustrating when we're dealing with coverage, and I think that's the frustrating thing. For Darren, I think he just had an impression of what he wanted visually, and it involved the sun, and we kept not getting it, and so he would just wait and wait. Or we'd be, you know, halfway through the coverage of a scene and we'd have sun, and all of a sudden it went away, and it went away forever, and that became a problem. But it's never going to give us a full take. That's the thing, unless this thing just goes away.
This might come over, huh?
So we just started trying to block things into backlight as much as possible, which I suggested to him. So if we block into backlight and then we get overcast, I can match these things. When you're in a situation on an island, it behooves you to reach for the backlight and block towards the backlight, because you know you're going to get clouds and not have clouds.
We got our shady version, Darren. Let's go.
That was a real challenge for the movie, and kind of changed the whole way that the film was constructed and thought of.
Couldn't ask for more interesting weather. Yeah, a little cold, a little windy, a little wet, but scene calls for clear, dry, warm, but we make it work.
Like Iceland had many more benefits than drawbacks. I mean, the weather was a drawback for sure, but wind was more of a drawback than the light. And if you look at but then you look at the film and you have this atmosphere of the wind that, you know, you can't create.
This is insane.
It's insanity. Walking across here, I was like, this is like a whole other.
And
We drop 44, take 6. Hey, Mark.
action! Cut. Good.
And we cut. That's a cut.
Last one. Sorry.
Where are we now?
We're actually very close to the volcano Eyjafjallajökull that erupted 2 years ago.
Any chance on a recurrence?
You never know.
Go all the way till you get to the rainbow. That's good. And cut. Good. That's a little bizarre. No, is anyone freaked out by that or no? Thank you, elves. Wow. That's I don't know if that's the elves. That's...
You ever done this before?
I have. But it's been a while.
It made a lot of sense to work with Maddie on this. You know, at the Mission Impossible scene where you kind of look at the different pictures of the different people you work and you have to pick the right team. It was very clear that Maddie was the right guy because he could help us with a big visual effects film because he's done a few of them and none of us really had. It was clear we needed to work with someone of Maddie's caliber, and luckily Maddie was available and it all worked out.
Say it again, please,
We
Amy.
can start
It was
where
for
he
me.
is on the 40. Put Russell right there.
Oh, I thought you was that calling for me to go to it. What you want? Okay.
Here.
Yeah, he runs down that way and he takes that same rock.
Takes that same rock. Comes right over and lands right there. Okay. Sent to them though?
Yep. Guys, and action!
Here you go. Cut. So we owe Noah shot, we owe Ham shot, we owe Shem shot, we owe 2 shots on Jennifer, and we owe Ela.
And we're back on the
Ela. Okay. What time's lunch?
After that.
The problem is we come back, the day's done.
Well, I don't think we were going to get 35 unless something drastically different happened.
Well, we could do.
Let's get right to 844.
844.
Might catch a break.
Look at one with camera?
Yeah.
We're gonna do that. Yeah. Good idea.
Attach the motor.
Steve?
But you had to keep going.
Jessica? Okay.
How's that knee bent?
Jessica?
Yeah, I don't think it's
Get that knee bent, 8.
Yeah.
Get the stance right.
That's gonna be fun. You got that.
New video feature it.
Here we go.
How to break a leg.
And roll it.
Rolling.
10 will be, I think 11.
Okay.
That's not the solution. Going soft is not the solution.
Action.
Gotta have seen that, mate.
Who are you playing in this movie?
The owner of the trailer park who locks
you sure?
Mickey out.
Made of rock?
Made of rock, Rocky. But you never tell me anything. But you always say to me, you know how we work.
Yeah.
And that's and then I want to say no, I don't.
We're gonna put you in the harness. You're gonna be right where this guy is.
Yes.
Noah's gonna be down there as a family.
Yes.
Og is up there.
Yes.
And we'll just try it out. We'll see. You know how we work.
My grandfather.
A child of the old one.
Elijah is a man. With their first breath they steal, with their second they lie.
Okay, pause, guys.
With the third, they buy group.
Still rolling. Quiet.
That's what my wife does. I'm trying to stop her.
So there's a sort of a ring of light over a hill in a mile-long lava tube, kind of cool. And I just said, hey, Darren thought that was a great idea, that we would make that would be where Methuselah lives and pretend it's up in the mountains somewhere, even though it's a stranger kind of a place. The sets that we were conceiving and designing had Methuselah's world in some kind of a volcanic setting, that the mountain was actually a dormant volcano, maybe not so dormant, and that he was tapped into the energy of, that was really coming from the core of the earth.
Almost ready.
But it's behind it. Makes sense?
Enoch is.
And Enoch is Methuselah's father. So it goes Enoch, Methuselah, Lamech.
Gavin.
What he said?
Yay,
Gavin looked to the heavens. And the Lord spake to Gavin.
Okay, let's do it.
Stand by.
So reload.
Ready.
Okay, here we go. We're gonna do it from you kneeling down into the shot. Lift this frame up. Can you kneel down for us? And if we're Denver, take 3 pickup. Here, Mark.
And action.
Justice. The Creator destroys this world because we corrupted it and filled it with violence. So we ourselves must be destroyed. What could be more just than that?
And then you hear the wave coming. This huge wave, which is coming from that way. Okay? You're gonna look over your left shoulder and see it come, and as it comes, you'll eat the second berry.
Yeah, exactly.
And just sort of enjoy the second berry. And I think it's more of just, that's what I was thinking is, what do you think of that as a thing? To go out and eat the second berry and enjoy the berry.
Here I am in Iceland, about to do a rain shot. The sun's sinking, the world's going away. It'll be nighttime soon, and I still got one more scene to shoot.
I did. Rolling. Rolling. One, 2, 3, action! Search again. Find it. Find it. Find it. Notice the wave. Oh. Excellent. Good. Good. That's it. Technique. Thank you, everyone. I think that's a wrap. What a way to make a living, huh? What a way to make a living. Exactly. Great job, Tony. Great job. Thank you, everyone. Look, you know, I mean, how many, you remember holding hands like 4 weeks ago and, and I said it would all be very, very different, and well, it is. I mean, before we came here, we knew how hard it was going to be, but we had no idea how hard it was going to be.
Oyster Bay was a great find. First we were trying to build the whole thing, and then we realized that we would also have to find a forest. It was all very complicated of how, all the different locations and how it could all fit together. And we sort of came up with the idea maybe we could find a field next to a forest, and we were very lucky to find the Arboretum to do that in. It was great to be that close to New York City and have a massive location like that.
The basic idea was that we wanted to convey that the Ark was really built in haste. We took the Bible at its word for its dimensions, which was a height, a length, and a width. Didn't give any indication of a design. And so we assumed, or we made the assumption, that all that space would be maximized and that Noah was really building a shipping container, a way to store these animals to weather a storm, rather than a ship with a keel that looks like it's headed to a destination. And all Noah's really been instructed to do is build this thing and wait it out. Lastly, I think what we both wanted, Darren and I both wanted the Ark to be is a sort of brutalist structure, something that was not made to be admired, something that was not built in honor of anything except the survival of what was in it.
I don't think New York's ever seen a set like that, let alone an outdoor set like that. Drive on the LIE and you'd get off in Oyster Bay and you'd show up on set and you just entered another world.
Our Ark is built kind of more to the specifications described in the Bible than the houseboat that you see on cereal boxes. When the entire earth is flooded and there's water everywhere, there's nowhere to go. You're not sailing anywhere. So you really are just trying to float until the waters go down and then you land somewhere. So it didn't need a sail or a keel for directionality. It was just a raft with a roof. It takes away this notion that you can go, it's a much more passive, trapped, imprisoned kind of situation where you're really at the mercy of the waters receding.
What are you doing out there? Right. Hey, pulling your tick, David. Oh, you're still shooting, eh? Pulling one's tit is an expression used in Commonwealth countries. Also can be pulling one's leg, and I'm sure you here in America understand that means one gets teased. Yes. So David was having his tit pulled by members of the crew. He actually quite enjoys that. Yes, in fact, he's a big fan of it. Though doing it because he himself likes it.
Get ready for picture.
Over his other shoulder. Okay. Russell, watch the top, down a bit. Okay.
It's right enough, it's gonna pop down. Watch your feet. There we go.
Okay, stay down there, guys. Duck down, guys, duck down.
Hey, do we gotta go to your left?
Look out at the field.
It's all about precision. You lose precision on big films.
What do
That's
you mean?
the thing that happens. Because it's so expensive, the day rate, you don't have enough time. So that's the big loss, is you can't be as precise. But I think, this is the theory I have, the studios actually like it. Because the less the precise film, the more mainstream of just a master and coverage, they're happy because it's just very basic.
So by precise, you mean like big, complicated shots that you do 20 times?
Yeah. Hard, difficult shots that, no, you're compromised. You want to make focus as easy as possible. You want to make the move as easy as possible. You want to make that. So, and save the big shots for the ILM budget when they don't actually do anything on set. but the on-set time is so limited.
Right.
Basically, you spend years writing the script, millions of dollars building, hours upon hours thinking about the shots, and then you get 30 minutes to shoot. It's reality. In reality, you get no time to shoot. And it's not even been like lighting. Usually on low budget films, the lighting setups are hard.
Right.
And that's where you lose time. And you get very little time with the actors.
Because you don't have all the equipment.
You don't have the same type of equipment and crew to do everything. At least, or maybe experience, I don't know. That's at least our experience. When I was 13 years old, I had a 7th grade English teacher who was out of ordinary. It's a little eccentric. We should actually do it in front of her pink Mustang, which you'll have to get a cutaway to. Always wore pink. And one day I came to class. She was a great teacher, and I came to class and she said, okay, everyone take out a piece of paper and a pen and write something about peace. And for some reason I wrote a poem on Noah and his ark and his family, and we sent it off. It turned out it was a contest for the UN, and a few weeks later I came into class and Mrs. Freed said, "You've got a thick envelope." And she handed me the envelope, and I had one, and it was the first thing that I ever had gotten that, you know, it was kind of the first prize I won, and it kind of convinced me that I could maybe be a writer. And now here she is, Miss Vera Freed, and tell them all the memories you have of me at 13.
I think he was sitting in the 3rd row. I know he was sitting next to a red-headed girl named Robin, but I taught 2,000 kids. I was so thrilled when I heard from this boy, and I figured he said he had written a comic, and I think, oh, Archie and Veronica, terrific. And I got it, and it's a 12 by 15 Japanese anime. I was so excited, and it's dedicated to Madame Vera Freed, who gave me the desire to write. I melted on the floor.
Anyway, I want everyone to know the story of Vera Freed. And the most important thing is, if you've had a great teacher, contact them and tell them how much that person meant in your life, because they work selflessly for years, and it's a good payoff, right?
It was the best. He made 25 years of teaching really, really worthwhile.
And I'm the only reason I worked. Otherwise, it was a disaster for her. You hated them, right?
This is the layout of this bar. Starting at this end, there's 32 heads laid out from right to left of this rain bar. The center of these, with the M's, are Mr. heads for blocking out background light. The large numbers, or bold numbers, are the goose drowners. So that's how much rain at 2,000 gallons a minute comes out of it. Water runs up the boom arm, runs up the side, comes down into this main head, feeds all of these. And these tanks are being filled from hydrants. Then from those tanks, it's pumped into these lines. And from these lines, it's pumped up into these overheads. Quite the elaborate system. 2,000 for each of the big bars, 1,000 on the small. 5,000 total per minute.
I remember one time I was doing this long take in the rain with Russell, and I just noticed that our effects guy's smile on his face was getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and after I called cut, I was like, "Why are you so happy?" And he was like, "You just had more rain in a single take than any movie has ever done."
There's been so much stress in my life from weather and clouds.
Sun, time of day.
Like we're
on a stage.
We're on a stage.
And it feels like, it looks like a stage out there. I love it. I love it. I don't mind the night thing at all.
We were shooting at night for a day, and the reason for that was to say, you know what, we can't control the weather, we can't control the sun. Let's just go at night, which we could pretty much control, and try and create it as a stormy day.
Looking at the script, we're going to spend a lot of time in the battle, and clearly we needed to be a stormy day, and having to contend with sun and August in New York wasn't happening. We just had to commit to what I wanted to resist, which is shooting at night.
I think we have six 4Ks in each, 4K HMIs in each of the balloons. So like the rig that you have up there right now is 24K on each balloon. So what will happen in the air, we'll have 3 bay cranes with 3 bars. Each bar will be 2 balloons. You have 6 balloons in the air. Yeah, hopefully we will be able to cover this whole area with daylight and be able to augment where we need with floating balloons. We have an arsenal of gear here, but I don't know if this has ever been done before, but we're giving it a try.
We had as many crew as we had extras. We had so much gear there that looked like an expo for some construction company. There was a certain sense of satisfaction that you were attacking something with a big hammer. Look, I just knew that it was fake rain and fake light, and I knew that I needed the light to be soft. So the go-to was a balloon. It wasn't that I never had ever done it, but the math made sense to me once I knew what I needed to achieve, that I had to go with balloons, and there was no other way, because the minute I put a real light up, or not a real light, but if I bounced big HMIs into giant bounces, it would look saucy.
I don't know. It's rough. First day of the battle, right? Today's Friday. No, we got 2 more weeks of this.
Okay, guys, here we go.
Every camera operator is underneath a plastic bubble, essentially, and an air knife plugged in, and we're pumping air into all the cameras. It was just a nightmare. And even when the compressor, if there was a little bit of a leak in the compressor, all of a sudden it was spitting out water into the lens. It was like a fucking disaster. To a person in our crew, we just could not wait for that thing to be over. You know, it was just every shot was like giving birth.
Between the passion to get on the boat and the destruction that's happening in front of you. Cool? Any questions? Very good question. He wants to know if when you see the monsters you want to fight back. I think if you have a weapon, I saw some of you doing it in the rehearsal, you can try and swing. The football sleds, those are each legs of the monster. They'll be moving all over the place, and you can be swinging and trying to attack or whatever, ducking, whatever you can do. All right, guys, so let's go, let's have fun, and let's see some terror.
We are setting up Tubal Cain's wedge coming forward with a wonderful shot going over the top of his wedge as it's forging through mankind like a snowplow, ploughing through the masses in order to get to the watchers so Tubal Cain can one of them up.
Stop! Open!
The wedge, so it comes through us, and then we're on the side, so that when it opens, we're still on
We're
the
not
side
doing
of it.
the opening.
Okay, so we're just running.
We're just running it. So you're just the refugees
So we're just
coming
getting
along.
knocked over and then out.
2, 1, go! Hit, please!
Any requests?
How about the clash? The pole!
Oh yeah, the Clash. Great idea.
Should I stay or should I go?
Should I stay or should I go? All right, we'll try to get it. All right, let's have some fun. Thank you, guys. Okay, this is the last scene of the night. It's been a long, hard battle. It's very surreal to be working on this sequence for months and months and to see all the previs, all the animation, all that work, and then suddenly be standing in the real space with all of these cranes. Very strange and surreal, but it's good. It's good to go inside and finally get into directing actors. Hot Pocket!
All right, snap it up.
When we got to the Marcy Armory, you know, the kind of nature of the film changed because we came back to something that we're more comfortable with. You're in a studio, you're on a set, you're not dealing with weather. It was very complicated because we were dealing with this huge 3-story, 70, 80-foot tall building. It was just a great setting and a great location to be in after really being out exposed to the forces of nature to suddenly take it and be completely safe and protected.
Marcy Armory is 90 feet tall without any columns and 300 feet. The two big spaces, but the bigger space about 300 feet long. And that more or less just fit our ark. You know, a big engineering event for a movie. Hundreds of thousands of dollars just in framing, just in steelwork to hold this thing up, which also had to hold the crew up. There were days where there was 400 people maybe working just on the construction of the ark alone, which is a huge number. By hollowing out the 3 levels vertically, by creating a heating core, we also were able to show the height, and when we constructed the interior of the ark on stage, we built it that way so that the family lives by the furnace but 40 feet over the bottom of the ark. That's a dangerous place to be.
Hi, how was it?
You start in here, you can start with looking back, and then you just go for it. All right?
Cleveland! And cue flash bomb.
I had the hearth and I had the presence of fire. I knew where my light was going to come from. But to try to sneak it into the further areas, I mean, there's no real wilds in the ceiling that really made sense. And trying to make it all look real is very difficult. It was a big challenge, actually. And then, you know, the space where Tubal Cain is hiding, the reptile deck. I struggled with that because I try to lean towards a source that makes sense. And I've always leaned towards a source that I would see in the shot. On this particular instant, I had to kind of learn to love not seeing the source and letting the audience believe that, you know, there's enough shots in the movie that you see where the light's coming from, and when you feel that light in another part of the arc, it just makes sense.
So you wake up, bang.
Wake up for the attack,
There,
right?
yeah, you're going to get it. It's going to be a row. And then you see the snakes and it's up and
Ow.
All right, here we go. Stand by, camera going up, and on the bell.
So, Steve.
149 Apple, take 3. Hey, Mark.
Set. Set. Action. Now we cut. That's the cut.
Yep. Yes.
Oh, it's okay. Like he's.
Then he'll hit it with the hard thing.
Let's try with a soft thing first,
Okay.
and then we can do it.
Who's gonna puppet? How's it puppeted?
Somebody can pull on this, and it's going to help like resetting us.
Okay.
Yeah, let's try with the soft thing, have a few takes with that, and then we're going to do the hard thing, destroy it.
Okay.
You know what?
No, it's just pull harder. Pull harder. I'll never walk. I'll never walk like this and fight. Crunch. You know?
Yeah, you don't have to say.
All the rest of it's really clunky.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah? Thank you. Right, okay.
We can do this?
Yeah, this is the show on the rock.
Boss is coming through.
Okay, hands up.
Thank you, Kyle.
Ladies and gentlemen, your Tubal King. The one-legged warrior.
You put your left hand on there. Yeah. Here to hold it in place. Like you're grabbing your thigh to calm it.
I understand.
That seems a little extreme. Does it have to be that broken?
Want me to hit it? I'm just going to use this to raise it.
And
I got it there.
that's basically it.
Lift up that leg. Yeah, there you go.
Don't touch his knob. He gets very sensitive.
Oh, sorry about that. That's okay, kid.
Hey, how come it's okay when he does it?
Well, you scratch my knee while you're there.
Yeah, careful, you're standing up there.
Oh, can't keep doing that. All right, let's try it.
All right, picture off.
Let's go bloody. Bloody and sweaty.
Bloody.
So have your hand there, have all the force on it so nothing shifts, and all you got to do is to whack and go into the pain, and we're good to go.
And
Okay?
camera, rolling. Still got it?
Speedy.
171 Charlie, take 2, Aimer. And set.
With will and courage, we shall survive.
1, 2, 3. Good. That was pretty awesome. And cut.
I think it's a very powerful story. I think flood myths are powerful, but I think the Noah story is very powerful and it's deeply embedded in our culture. But I think the fact that it is about a God that we want to think is good and loves us, destroying every 1 but 8 people, I think that's just a hard thing for people to keep in their heads. And so it's much easier for them to think about, oh, here's a nice guy who saved the animals.
What did you say?
They're not all soldiers.
That's fine. They are not all soldiers, Father.
So
Look, what?
Raining.
It's pouring. And there's a few mountaintops out there potentially with people hanging on to the tops, like one of those great Dory paintings I probably showed you at the beginning of all this. And there's a lot of bodies in there. I don't think there's actual bodies right here of people waving, going, help us, help us. There's none of that happening. Okay?
Noah! Ropes! We can drag ropes!
They're not all soldiers, Father. Just people.
I don't understand the bother about having it closed though.
Yeah,
It's our only vent.
No.
It's our only air vent.
Yeah, but I think there's still people screaming.
If
There's still people crying and screaming for help. There's still people alive. We're 5 days out.
That a story that is that dark has been the place where it's lodged in kind of pop consciousness is for toddlers. You know, that it's a kid story when what it's about is God kills everybody on the planet, essentially. And amongst those people that he killed that are dying in the flood, it doesn't say it explicitly, but if you start to think about it for a second, there's grandmas and grandpas and newborn infants, and I'm sure there's a lot of wicked people doing wicked things, but amongst that, there are all these other people, all of whom, except for Noah and his family, are killed. And that's a pretty broad judgment on humanity as a species. And it's a pretty strong thing to do. So we wanted to find a way to dramatize that. So what is it like? What does that mean? Make people feel that.
And action.
Please, Noah. There must be something we can do. We can drag ropes.
They cannot hold the soldiers, Father. They are just people. There is room.
And cut. Good. That was a good one. We'll try it again.
There's not much of a character in the actual Bible story for Noah. It calls him a righteous man in his time, and he's given this thing to do, and he does it. We looked into what the word righteous means, and a lot of biblical scholars came back to us and they said, most people think it's a balance between justice and mercy. It's something that as a parent you can really understand. If you have too much justice with a child and you're too strict, you can destroy your child. If you have too much mercy as a parent and you sort of are very lax with them, you can destroy your child as well. And being a good parent is a balance of justice and mercy. And at the beginning of the story, it's very clear that the Creator wants justice, that he's very upset about the wickedness of man and how man has destroyed the planet. He wants to do something about it, and he's very just. And at the very end of it, with the rainbow, it's clearly an act of mercy where he says, okay, I won't ever do something so horrendous to you again.
The Noah story in the Bible, Noah does not speak. It just says, and Noah did, as he was told, as God commanded him. Who is this character? What is this story about? What do we feel it's about? And how do we do it in a way that can be a movie, that you can dramatize, that has characters you care about? You know, one of the fundamental things that we came to was like, this is a story about whether humanity should be destroyed or saved.
The thing that makes man a god, if you like, and I think this is what Tubal Cain thinks, is that you can create life, but you also have the power to take life away. And I think the point from Tubal Cain is that animals were put on this earth for us to eat, to harvest. And Noah wants to save the animals, but will cull his own people, in fact exterminate his own people. So who's the good guy and who's the bad guy here?
God looked at people and saw that their hearts were filled with wickedness, and he decided to destroy them. And it ends, and it says, and God said he would never destroy people again, even though. So there's this change of what do we do with the fact that people are flawed? Do we wipe them out, or do we find a way to try and strive for redemption?
That is my child.
If you should bear a girl, in the moment of her birth, I will cut her down.
Okay, Pico?
Hey! Hey!
Action!
If it is a girl, I might mature into a mother. She must die.
That is my child.
If you should bear a girl, in the moment of her birth, I will cut her down.
There's a madness about him as well. You know, it's like someone coming into a church today and saying, on an Easter, and saying, I've risen again, I am the Son of God. You know, we'll probably phone the police.
When God said to Noah, hey, I'm going to destroy the world, how come Noah didn't say, God, don't do it? There's good people. Because when God goes to Abraham and says, you know, I'm going to destroy these cities, Abraham says, well, no, if I can find you 100 good guys, will you not destroy it? He pleads. Well, Abraham is representative of mercy. And Noah, well, he's more from a place of judgment because he follows God's will, but he doesn't try and save anyone. He just allows that judgment to take place.
The very end of it, the first thing he does is get drunk. You know, that was a very interesting thing. It's the first mention of wine in the Bible, and it made us wonder what exactly was that all about.
But to us, when we looked at it, kind of taking a step back and just from a human psychological terms, it's the greatest case of survivor's guilt you could imagine. He's witnessed all that death, and he's had a hand in all that death, whether actively or passively, because he's the one who was saved.
I think Tubal Cain has got a point. Well, I kind of think he's the alter ego of Noah. I mean, they come from the same place. They're all from God, all made in his image. And God has made us what we are, and that includes Noah. Then God leaves them, forsakes them, and wants to exterminate them from a point of view of humanity and for human race to actually survive. Tubal Cain's got the point. But the reflection that we're going for on this film is the kind of thing of what man is actually doing to the planet. And Tubal Cain's voice of reason is the voice of reason that we say time after time again. Yeah, but this has happened before. When are we ever going to learn? When are we going to change? So I think that's the voice of the film. I think the voice of Tubal Cain is the voice of so-called reason.
We just gotta fix this now.
Okay, Darren, coming in. Let's get some What are we,
Day in the life ham.
It's a
different lot of waiting.
Okay.
But it's fun. It's a fun scene. What's going on in your mind?
Could have gone ahead with.
Shadowing a little bit. Okay. And set.
And action. And break. And cut. What was that shadow?
Cameraman.
Not 100%
How was that for you,
sure.
huh?
I saw two and
Well,
just want to make sure we're a little further.
not as good as it was for you, right?
You better believe it.
Yeah.
All right, let's go again, sir.
Anyway.
I'm not leaving her yet.
All right, guys, one last one for good luck. We're good. Thank you.
Good luck for who?
For the leprechaun.
All right, what do we need to change? What do we need to do?
You watched the whole of mankind perish. All their innovations, all their creations. My people, your blood. Washed away. Well, now we finish it. Now!